down by 134, the NASDAQ down by 26, so we're off to a rocky start.
Thank you for that report this morning from the offices of Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, Mr. Denny Peterson. Time now is 18 minutes past 8 o'clock, 8:18 on this Monday morning. Smilin Jay with you on AM 1240 KGY, and I'm always happy this portion of the day because I have very interesting guests who come to join me in the broadcast studio, Studio A at KGY. And again, this morning, no exception. This morning, I welcome a candidate for Olympia City Council position number 7. We say good morning to Brian Tomlinson. Good morning.
Good morning, Jay. Good morning, everybody.
Thank you for coming down today. I appreciate it. Now, I always preface our political interviews by saying that KGY Radio does not endorse any candidate for office, and we do not charge for these public service interviews. We do them simply as a courtesy for people to get to know the candidates for public office. So I would ask this morning that you start out by taking a minute and introducing yourself, and in your introduction, please tell us what type of support we could expect from you as an Olympia City Council member.
Well, I'm 56 years old. My background is in business and management. I'm a small business owner. My wife and I own a couple of small businesses here in Olympia. I have Thurston Digital Services, and she has a small business called Autumnwood Childcare. I have a degree in science from City University of Seattle. I've lived in Olympia 5 years now. I'm running for City Council to help restore confidence and trust and faith in the City Council, and to ensure that everyone is represented at City Hall, not just elected officials and politicians, special interest groups, and political activists, but everyone.
Okay. If you are elected, what would be your primary goal for the next year?
Well, the budget is a priority. We have to be able to keep the same services and utilities and even improve on that with less money and less resources than we've had in the past. And economic revitalization is essential to the city. I'm planning on a sort of an infrastructure rebuilding our schools. In fact, there's a big meeting tonight with the school board on approximately $100 million bond and levy proposal that is really going to help boost the economy, I think, and I think everyone should get behind that and support that. Also, the environment, of course, Capitol Lake. I'd like to see it remain a lake, but inlet, removing the creosote, coated logs and things like that, and keeping that pure and clean.
What do you think is the most important issue that faces the City of Olympia over the next 2 years?
The budget.
Still
the budget, yeah. I think it's the most important issue, especially 2013. It's going to be difficult to maintain the utilities and services that we currently have and that we're projecting through our comprehensive plan for the future. The police department has stated that according to the comprehensive plan that's been put forth, the resources aren't even available to meet those expectations. So that's going to be a challenge. And of course, the economy, which I think, downtown, the revitalization, removing the remediation and removal of blighted buildings, and public purchase of the Isthmus to expand that into more of a park there. I'm 100% behind the foundation that's looking to meet those goals.
Okay, now that was a question I was going to ask here in a bit, but I guess we should address it now. This has been a hot topic.
Yeah.
A lot of people were very upset about the fact that they were planning on building these massive high rises on the Isthmus there. So your stand on it is the park, you think? That'd be a good idea.
Yes. And I think a public purchase of the park, which is underway now through the Isthmus Foundation, or just fondly known as the Foundation, headed up by former Mayor Bob Jacobs and some other folks. Yes, expanding that into a park, expanding that fountain area, I think would be fantastic because, everyone loves that fountain area and it's just crammed with people on a nice day. If we could expand that some, have more of a park there and even some sort of retail or, a library, City of Olympia Public Library expansion, I think, would be a great addition to our downtown area, and perhaps even, a carousel, something like that, a family-oriented, family-friendly environment.
Okay. Now, we touched briefly on Capitol Lake. Now, there seems to be, we thought initially there was two schools of thought regarding Capitol Lake, and now there seems to be a third. One was Capitol Lake should always be a lake, it is a lake, it is a lake. The other one was turning it into an estuary. And now there's kind of a third thing out there about a combination of lake and estuary. How do you stand on Capitol Lake again?
I support the Capitol Lake Improvement and Protection Association plan for Capitol Lake, which is to keep it a lake, keep the reflecting pool, dredge the lake. It's just long overdue for that. Clean it up. I know there are invasive species that have overtaken the lake that need to be eliminated, and I don't see, beyond that, I don't see it becoming an estuary. You'd have to remove the Fifth Avenue Bridge. The sediment would wash in. I think if people would go to the CLIPA or Capitol Lake Improvement and Protection Association website and see the documentation and the research that's been done on this, that they would agree with me. And through doorbelling and talking to people throughout the city, 80% of the people I've talked to are in support of saving Capitol Lake.
Okay. If you're just joining us this morning, we are talking with Mr. Brian Tomlinson, who is a Olympia City Council Position 7 candidate. And the elections are coming up soon. And this next question, this is an odd question, and I've gotten so many different answers, but I think it bears asking. Is the city of Olympia prepared for a major disaster? And answering as specifically as possible, how could we be better prepared for disaster?
No, I don't think it is. That's one of the things with the comprehensive plan that I'd like to see implemented is a better emergency preparedness plan. Earthquakes are a fact of life here. I lived for many years down in Los Angeles, and I lived through the 1992 earthquake there, and it was terrifying and devastating. And it's a reality here in Olympia, too, Mount Rainier is only 60 miles away as the crow flies, and an earthquake of a magnitude 6.5 or greater could be devastating to our city, and we really need to develop some sort of a comprehensive, cohesive plan to prepare for that.
Okay. So more plans for disaster.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially earthquake, I think.
All right. Olympia is a wonderful place to live. If you are elected, what would you do to improve the quality of life in Olympia, specifically for like the young and the elderly?
Well, I think more people-friendly spaces downtown. I'd like to see a city square developed. Every great city has its city square. New York City has Washington Square. Los Angeles has Pershing Square. Portland has Pioneer Square. I think Olympia Square or Tomlinson Square has been proposed, but no. I think that would be a great addition to an already vibrant and excitingly cultural and artistic society, environment that we have here.
Okay. Describe your fiscal experience and your qualification for understanding city finances.
Well, my background is in business and management, going back to when I was 13 years old, working for my family's business back east in real estate, in retail, in restaurants, and over the years I've had many businesses of my own, an art gallery, computer services organization, co-owner with my wife in a child care center down in Los Angeles, which my son and his wife now run. So I know that to compete in today's world, and cities are no different than businesses in this regard, is you have to do a better job today than you did yesterday, and you have to do a better job tomorrow than you did today, or the competition will be eating your lunch the next day.
Okay. All right. So I guess in conclusion, if you could take a minute, share your concluding remarks and things that we need to know about Brian Tomlinson for City Council.
Well, in addition to the budget, my priorities are going to be to revitalize downtown through infrastructure rebuild. And also, I want to appeal to Olympians to buy Olympian, just as we passed a National Buy American Act back in the 1930s. This would be sort of a symbolic Buy Olympian Act, where we make a conscious effort to shop in Olympia, to buy your groceries in Olympia, frequent and patronize Olympian businesses, Olympia restaurants. We can use the tax revenue, and that will be a great boost to our revenue base. Also, social services, particularly for our most vulnerable citizens, children and the elderly and the chronically homeless. And I'm 100% behind the Quixote Village construction out on Montman Road, and I support Panza completely on that. And finally, environmental concerns. I'm endorsed by the Capitol Lake Improvement and Protection Association Chair, Dr. Jack Havens, Olympia School Board President Alan Miller. And I want to see Olympia become the kind of place that we can all be proud of and have a great environment to raise our families and live and work and play.
Okay. I wish you well on your quest, and I know it's going to be an exciting time as the election comes up. For Olympia City Council Position 7 candidate Brian Tomlinson, I wish you the best.
Thank you, Jay.
I appreciate you coming to see me.
Thank you, everybody.
This is AM 1240 KGY.